Hi guys, I'm Miriam and welcome to my channel. I know you are here because you want to learn more about Bitcoin, blockchain and mining. Let's start with the definition of blockchain itself. I'm going to use an example for defining what is blockchain and what is, mining and Bitcoin, so on and so forth. For our example, I'm going to use the system of banking that we have right now. Every time that I want to send money to someone, either using Venmo or PayPal or any other app that is out there, or literally going to the bank and telling them that like writing a check and telling them that send this money to this person, right? In all of those scenarios, I'm going always to ask bank to do that, right? Bank is our central authority, so we know that bank knows the information about me, and every time that I initiate a transfer of money to a certain person, they are going to check my identity and everything, and then they're saying that okay, this is valid, take this amount of money from Miriam's account and give it to this certain person, right? So we are always trusting the central bank. That is the current system, and that's actually the architecture of most of the systems, not just financial but anything else, like YouTube, like Instagram, Facebook, everything. There is the central server that we are all trusting, and the central server is actually checking the ownership and giving the authority to a person. Or let's say that central server actually is validating a transaction that is happening, right? We all know that. That's our current system. But what if this central authority shuts down? What if the central authority is actually a bad guy? Well, what's gonna happen then, right? We don't have anything else. We cannot do anything because all the information that we had was relying on this central system, central bank, central person, whatever, right? That's when DLT and blockchain comes to help us. Oh, I said DLT. Let's see, what is DLT? DLT means distributed ledger system. Just to give a quick summary, blockchain is actually a subset of distributed ledger system. There are so many other variations of DLTs, such as hash graphs. You have DAG, which is a directed graph. I know this term is very technical, but if you want to learn more, you can look it up. Then we have holochain, and so on, and some other types. We're going to go into details of distributed ledger systems in future videos, not today. Today we are focusing on to learn more about just the concept of blockchain and the concept of mining and Bitcoin. Okay, let's go back to our topic. Now, we were talking about now how blockchain is going to help us to solve this central point of authorization, right? Blockchain is a practical implementation of democracy, meaning that we don't have one central person ordering everyone or giving authentication to everyone. We don't need that one central person. Everybody can be their own control center, and at the same time they can control each other, and that way everyone is equal and we are not relying on just one center. And if something happens to someone, like if one of the nodes shuts down, and there is no worry because everybody has the same power, right? They have the same amount of control. For moving forward, I'm gonna define a term ledger here, which we're gonna use a lot. So in the system of central banking, right, we know that this central banking knows every information about every users that they have, right? And they are keeping track of how the money is getting transferred inside their banking system. Let's say I sent some money to Alice, and then I have sent some money to Bob, and then Bob has sent some money to like a person named X or so on, right? They know all of these records of transactions. They are keeping it in a book, right? We're gonna call that ledger. In blockchain, everybody has the same copy of this ledger, this book. Like everybody has the same copy of this ledger. And that's how they are keeping each other and themselves accountable. They're making sure that everybody knows when I send some amount of money to Alice, everybody knows that I have sent that amount of money and like that transaction happened. And then later on I cannot, like Alice, if let's say in a case that Alice comes out and she says that, you know what, no, Miriam didn't send this amount of money, all the other knows, they can say that no, we saw it, we saw it, we got the update, we know that Miriam sent you $100. We know that and you cannot deny it. And that's how they are keeping each other accountable. I'm sure you have so many questions right now. For example, imagine Chase that has millions of users and in every second thousands of transactions is happening. How users are going to keep up with that? You know, how I'm going to keep up with those transactions and update my ledger? How Bob or Alice are going to do that? Right? And how we can trust it? How we can make sure that it's not a hacker, or like if somebody is telling the truth or not, right? How we can make sure of that? We're gonna address these questions now in blockchain and how blockchain is solving that problem. The question is that how all the nodes inside the network right now are keeping track of this transaction. How can I make sure that the rest of the network has the exact same copy of ledger that I have, right? So one thing that is going to happen in here, it is called consensus process. And like the idea of democracy, what is happening is that every time that an update message is being sent out, all the users, all the nodes inside the network, they are voting. They are saying that, okay, we are accepting this, write it down guys in your ledger. We are not accepting that, don't write it down in your ledger. So we are going to all the time vote and then decide how to update our ledger. So everyone inside the network could have the exact same copy of the ledger. Now how this consensus algorithm is going to run. This is where mining is going to merge and the nodes that are called miners. Mining is being done by the node miner. We're going to call that node, that user miner. Miner, every time when the update gets out, miner comes out and says that, okay guys, I'm going to verify this, I verified it, this is correct, the signature that has been used here is Miriam's signature, and then it's gonna say, okay, let's vote, are you going to write this down into your ledger or not? And always remember that there is always a possibility that they can ignore the update message. So the miner every single time is verifying and then asking for every person's vote. So it's running the voting. So if you remember, we said that blockchain is subset of DLT, and blockchain got publicity all because of Bitcoin. Because in 2009, a group named Satoshi Nakamoto came up with this idea of Bitcoin, saying that, you know what, we don't need a central bank, can have this distributed system that people can send and receive money, just a simple payment platform, digital payment platform. That was the idea, and that's the only idea, and the only use case of Bitcoin is just to send and receive the money. want you to get familiar with this concept, and then in the future videos we're gonna go more into technical. If you have any questions or suggestions, please comment below. I would appreciate your feedback. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.